Hello, my name is Kelly Brown. I thought that it might be helpful if we took a few minutes to reflect on this week's readings in our course. I'd like to just kind of review briefly the high points or takeaways that I found in each of the readings. So starting with the strategic communication imperative. The authors felt that strategic communication was communication that aligned with a company's overall strategy to enhance their positioning. They felt that developing an integrated strategic approach was very, very critical to overall success. More often, though, however, they have found that companies would choose a tactical short-term approach when communicating the organization's needs and mission, and that always the authors felt conveyed inconsistencies that resulted in overall impediments to the company's overall strategy, and would show downward spirals in their work. Moreover, when companies utilize a strategic approach in communications, the communication becomes an integral, fundamental part to the application of strategy and subsequently the success of the company. The next reading was Understanding the Power of Communications. The authors of this felt that the tactics of communication are often thought of as independent components, if you will, that don't affect or rely on their correlating resources. Much like I kind of envisioned when I was writing Polaroid pictures, a series, to display a celebration. Each of those Polaroids are independent pictures. They stand alone to capture the moment as a whole. Organizations should embrace the interplay of tools found in communication strategies, much like what I envision a panoramic picture to be. When you have one picture that captures the entire moment from beginning to end, much in a spectrum type of order. That picture shows interplay. It shows the whole instead of trying to add up segments to create the whole. When this process is successful, an organization's mission and work can be very transformative in providing focus and clarity to each member of the team and the organizational constituents. The third reading that we kind of delved into was the role of the brand. I found this article very interesting and enlightening, and really kind of honed in a very fundamental purpose of strategic communication for me. The authors extended an emerging model that sees brands as having a broad strategic role in the core performance of any organization. Brands should be coveted as intangible objects that convey who you are, what you do, and why you do it. And those are such critical questions to any organization that anyone at any level, any member of that team should be able to answer to any audience. Effective brands often bring about rich credibility and trust to a project very quickly, and more importantly, they motivate people to act, to do something. The authors identified 4 sources of skepticism in regard to brands. 1, brands are a direct link to monetary gain. That's not always true. Brand management is a top-down process we find that more and more now that no, it is a transformative process. Thirdly, branding is viewed as a vanity of the leadership rather than the needs of that organization. That sort of statement speaks to itself in the respect that vanity would be personalized, and an organization is not living and breathing. Although we want it to feel that way, it's not something, an object that can have feeling, such as an individual. So if vanity or someone being vain about a brand is an outcome to an organization, then that would be driven by the core leadership of that organization. And last, during collaboration efforts, it's often a skepticism that collaboration efforts from powerful brands of organizations would overshadow and result in an imbalance of power among partners of a said coalition, anything like that. Contrasting the skeptics, brands bring about cohesion and capacity, a bridge between program strategy and external communications. And last, and probably most important, brands allow an organization to do more, creating an environment that fosters a willingness to experiment, take risk, and drive innovation. The last reading, I am really messing you up, excuse me. The fourth reading, the 8-word mission. I really liked this article. It was short, it was sweet, it was to the point. Kevin Starr, he explained that 8-word mission statements cut to the chase with identifying what needs to be accomplished. An 8-word mission should be able to anyone should be able to identify a verb, which would be the action, their target population, and a measurable outcome. And, reading this article, often people, and I've been through this process of mission development with several organizations, and people go, why? Why 8 words? And Kevin Starr reminds us that it's long enough to be specific and short enough to force clarity. And I truly believe that. I've been a part of developing a very long mission statement that was laborious, and often people walked away and they didn't know what that mission said. They much less be able to ever repeat it. And then I've also used this 8-word process and walked away, and everybody could talk about the mission, know the mission, and convey it to any audience at any time. So I do believe in this process. I think it's a powerful, dynamic process to any organization. A good mission statement includes concrete results and is about the what and not the how. The 8-word process always asks 3 critical questions. 1, is this the best way to get there? 2, is there anything more that can be done to accelerate the path? And 3, is everything we are doing focused on getting there? The 8-word mission statement, you should always remember, is paramount to the real measurement of impact for an organization. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on this week's articles with me, and I hope in some way some of the information might be helpful or an easier way to remember the high points or the takeaways from each one of them.